Hi, welcome to Chad's Silversmithing. Before we get too far into the video, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that really helps to get my channel promoted, and I appreciate it. I also love it when people leave comments, so if you have a question, some constructive criticism, ideas for videos are nice. If you want to tell me how you do things, that's always nice to hear. It's interesting how everybody does things a little different. But yeah, leave a comment. Today I wanted to do some real simple projects because every once in a while you need to fill out your inventory when a show is coming up, and sometimes it's nice to have some easy things to make that are pretty good sellers. And so I'm going to show you three more different kinds of no solder earrings, and I think they're pretty easy to make, and they should be popular, I would think. Before we get started on that, I wanted to thank some groups of people. First is my group of patrons over on Patreon. They're my primary group of supporters, and they've created this really wonderful environment where they share ideas and the knowledge that they have with each other and with me, and I share mine with them, and it's just a nice place. I have two new members, Lorraine J. and Marty. So thank you for signing up, both of you. I think that you'll find that that's a great group of people over there, so make sure to utilize the resource that you have. The other group is my YouTube subscribers, and we just passed 15,500 people, I believe, which is amazing. I am struck by the kind things that people say sometimes. Nothing makes a teacher more happy when he finds out that people are getting something useful from what they're doing. And so it's really nice when you leave those kinds of comments. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I also do appreciate the financial contributions. The Buy Me a Coffees and the Super Thanks really do help with the cost of materials, which are kind of crazy right now. So, all right, well, let's get started on these earring projects. Excuse me, this is one of my sketchbooks that you can get on my merch store. The more recent ones, I've started to put charts and other information on the back. This one has fractions of an inch to decimals to millimeters, which I find really useful. The other thing I like about these is it allows me to sketch up my designs before I make them in order to come up with kind of a more concrete idea. And it has a nice little grid pattern in the background, which helps me to kind of keep things sort of proportional. So here's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to use 18 gauge round wire to create this kind of spiral that tapers on either side with a loop at the top, and then we'll hook an ear wire onto it that we make out of 20 gauge wire. 20 gauge is 0.79 millimeters, 18 gauge is 1.02 millimeters. The pieces that I'm going to need to make this particular one is about 110 millimeter long. The second one is going to be a little bit thicker round wire, and it's going to be 16 gauge round, which I think is 1.3 millimeters if I remember, and we'll do an ear wire at the top like this one. I may flatten this a little bit to keep it, real stable. This one is almost a wire wrappy sort of thing. It's going to have a spiral that starts in the middle with a projecting thing going out back that's going to go up and wrap around the top piece, which becomes the ear wire. These two have 20 gauge ear wires. This one actually has an 18 gauge ear wire. I think if you do it in 20 gauge, it's going to be so small in here that it'll be hard to see the detail. And a lot of people have holes in their ears that will take up to 18 gauge. So some people can, but many people can. So we'll start with this one here. And the only tool I'm really going to need on this one is a couple of pairs of pliers. I'll use my round nose pliers and my chain nose pliers, and we'll go ahead and make a couple of those. Okay, so let's get started with these first ones. Okay, to start with on my round nose pliers, I'm going to take the end like this, stick it out a bit so I have enough room to do a loop. Then I'm going to try and tightly shape it like that so it gets gradually bigger. So now we've got a taper kind of started, and I think we can probably accentuate it by tightening it up. Let's see if I can put a little loop on the end of this now. So I'll probably just do some little fine tuning of those to make them nice, more even spirals. But I'll go ahead and make a second one too. Okay, I got 2 of those now. And I cut myself some pieces of 20 gauge round wire that were, oh, I don't know, 3 inches long maybe. And I made a loop about, so 3 inches would be about, what, 7.5 centimeters, I guess. And so I don't know, about 15 millimeters in, I made a little loop, or about 5/8 of an inch or 3/4. And I'm going to go ahead and slide this on there. Just close it. I actually have a video about making these kind of ear wires and some other ones. If you're interested, I'll put a link up there for you. It's got a number of different ways you can make ear wires. Just kind of wrap it around there a couple of times. I'm wearing this orange thing on my finger because this time of year my fingers get pretty beat up, as you can see. Alright, so I will polish this before I actually shape the ear wire, but that's how I'm going to do those. So now we can start on the next one in a minute. Alright, so there's number 1. And then number 2 is going to be some 16 gauge round wire. And I'm not sure exactly how much I need for these. I didn't measure these ones because I was going to do an open spiral this way, which is pretty easy to do. So let's just I'm going to bend this down just a little bit like that. get that started. And if you hold it real tight in your flat nose pliers like this, you kind of create a spiral going around like this. I guess I'm doing it the opposite. No, I'm doing it the right way. So really I had it kind of like that. Kind of just shaping and tightening it up as I go here. Try not to ding up the metal too much. I think I don't need to be quite that huge, but let's cut it off about right there. And then file this in and we'll loop it back on itself like that. So I get it kind of shaped how I want it. I'm going to snip off this little tail here. We've got our little earring. Let's see if I can make a similar one. The reason this wire is oxidized is because I made it from some 14 gauge round by pulling it through a draw plate. And so I annealed it to soften it back up a little bit. Those are pretty close. Good enough, I think. Alright, then I'll put some ear wires on those ones too, just like it before. I cut some 18 gauge wire that was maybe 140 millimeters or so. And that's probably longer than I need, but it was hard to gauge, so I'm gonna so to do these ones, the wire that comes out of the center point here of the spiral goes backwards and then goes behind it and wraps around this what's going to become the ear wire on these, which is the outer end of that spiral. So I need to have enough to do this and start there. So I'm going to go about, I'm estimating, so let's go 10, 20, 30, 40, 45-ish, maybe, somewhere in there. Probably ought to bend this one so I get it the same. Now, we got to get that started. Do the same kind of thing we did before. That other spiral. I want it to be pretty tight here, though. I need to leave enough there for an ear wire. I think we can go a little bit further. Kind of like that. Now this one on back, I'm going to bend over so it goes upwards. Kind of like that. And I think let's just try and wrap it around there. So from the front I want it to look like it has 3 complete wraps like that. And then we'll snip it off. I think maybe we can kind of go like this. And I usually use a, where did it go? A round pencil to shape the ear wire. Around like this. Tweak that end up just a little bit. And once I have the second one made, in order to keep this ear wire nice and stiff, I'm probably going to flatten it a little bit up here. And then we'll have 2 little spiral earrings like that. So, see if I can duplicate that. I should probably go the opposite direction. So, I need to go this way then. Those are pretty cool, like those. I'll get those filed up on the ends and get everything else all polished up, and then I'll show you the final products. But yeah, 3 very simple no solder earrings that you could kind of flesh out your inventory with. I think these ones are really cool. I like those ones. So, and once you've made a few of those, you could probably make them faster than I just did. I don't think I've ever made one exactly like that before. So, additional thing you can do if you want to make this a little bit stiffer, if you use a chafing hammer, hold this stuff in place. Flare out the top a little bit. That'll keep it kind of stiff. Alright, so I'll get some ear wires on these. I'm going to pickle them all for a little while just to get rid of any oxides, and then I'll light polish. I'll show you the result. So I'll be back. Okay, got everything kind of polished up. I noticed on these ones I don't have them perfectly symmetrical, but I think I did okay. And like I said, these are going to be kind of an inexpensive item to sell at shows or whatever. These ones I like. They came out nice. Simple spirals in 16 gauge. And these ones I was surprised by how much I liked them. I've never really done much with wire wrap, and those look very wire wrappy, but I think those would be good kind of everyday earrings. You know, so again, with these kinds of things, there's a million different variations you can do. Just limited by what you can think of, you know. So try out some different things. These are great, you know, build up your stock kind of things for the low-end price points at your shows. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm going to take some better pictures of these, and I'll put them at the end. Alright, well that was 3 more types of no solder earrings. I hope you enjoyed those. If you did, make sure to hit the like button before you leave. And also, take a moment and check out my main channel page. I have a ton of videos now. I have over 400, and there's content for all different levels that people are at, as well as tons and tons of projects. So take a few moments and peruse some of those, and maybe subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Before you leave, also hit the video description down below. There's some relevant links. There's a link to my merch store if you want to get yourself one of those nice design idea books. There's a link to my ebook, which is a guide to 2023's tutorials. And it's kind of a nice guide with additional information about each of the videos, links to the videos, pictures, descriptions, materials you need, and just some extra notes that I made about each project. So there's like 160 or 170 different projects in there. Finally, there's a link to my Patreon if you want to find out more about that community. It's a really great place, and there's a lot of nice people over there. So thanks for watching. Take care. Happy silversmithing.